Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. Today I'm doing backgrounds because my last video showed you the end process of how I was using the backgrounds, and I know a lot of you were interested in seeing how I created the backgrounds. So I'm using Brusho. These ones were from Stamping Up. You can get Brusho all over the place. And they are basically crystal pigments. So I want to do a neutral coloured one. So I'm literally just, this is the yellow one actually. So I'm going to do a yellow and blue one, I think, to start off with. So all I'm going to do is to just sprinkle some on and then just start adding just a drop of water on there. So I'm going to take some of this one, which is going to give us sort of the browny neutrally colour on this, because I want this to be more of a neutral one. And you can see how all the colours just start to just blend through. Now I want this to go, this is fairly light cardstock, but you don't need to use heavy. I mount it afterwards. So I'm just taking it down on the side like this. That's got some more of that colour. I do want some more of this one, which is the neutrally one. I just sort of build it up as I go. See how it sort of all diffuses, and then I'm just going to add a drop more. And then what I do is I take some kitchen roll, and you can see these ones I've used because I tend to use them as backgrounds as well. But then I'm just going to lay this down, pick it up, and just start moving it. So if I move it, you can see you get these really quite fun looking streaks on it, which I quite like. So I'm just going to move it this way and get some more streaks. Now I think I'm going to add a little bit of orange in on this one because it's not as bright as I'd quite like it. So I'm just going to take, and that's the nice thing with these, you can just add bits as you go. So you don't have to you don't have to stop, you can just keep adding. And you can see on this I'm just turning it a bit, so we just get it to start moving just a little bit, not a huge amount. And maybe I'm just gonna just take that in a bit so we get some of it running through, coming down into the bottom. Turn it over this way. Now obviously this is just going to be a background, so I don't need to have it too much on here. Quite like that orange in there, so I'm just going to add another little bit in on here. And you can see even with the orange, all of the colours, you just get a little bit of vibrancy coming through. And then I can take some of this green on again, which has got some brighter colours in. So I'm just taking that. I'm going to have a little bit more of a spray up in here, like that. So that takes that corner. And again, I can just tip it up this way. Turn it round, tip it up that way, so you can just get some of these nice runs going on. And don't dry it with a heat gun or anything, literally just leave it like that, put it on your kitchen roll or whatever you're doing, move it out of the way and go on to the next one. Because if you dry it, the colour will not be as vibrant. You lose some of it when you dry it, the same as if you dab it. So these are all going to be backgrounds that you will see coming up in future videos. I just wanted to show you the process because I know that a few of you have asked. Okay, so this one is going to be blue and yellow. And again, you can see I start with just card that hasn't even got any colour on it or any water on it at all. You don't need to have the water. You can just, and it's literally, you just tap a tiny amount. You don't need a lot at all, particularly when on the darker colours. So this is blue and this is going to be very bright. So you can see I do it quite gently to start off with so I don't blow the flakes away. But you can see on here how this is coming up beautifully and how dark it comes as well. Okay, so I can then get another piece out from underneath, just take that up, and I'm just going to, let's do it down this way. I'm just going to allow it to drip down through because I quite like that sort of almost like a tree or a cave look in it. Just turning this cardstock, as you can see, it's fairly light cardstock, so it's not very thick, but I don't need it to be very thick. So I can turn it round, and I'm just going to allow this little bit to come down in on here. You see that sort of coming? Yes, you can see all of that coming down. So I just let these little drips run down a bit. Just let that one run down. So we've just got a little bit of a drip coming down on here. And it's a matter of patience. Just allow the things to sort of drip and run. Okay, so I'm going to leave that exactly like that because I like that in the center, I like that at the side. So that one's going to just dry off like that. And I can just put that on top of the other one and take one out like this. And I'm just going to wipe my desk down. And this time I think I'm going to create a green. So to create a green, I need to put a little bit of blue across, and then I need to add the yellow into it so that it will come. So just a little bit of the blue, because the blue you can see is quite vibrant. And then I'm going to add the yellow in on top, because the yellow and the blue together should give me a nice sort of green. And I might have to add a little bit more in on here. So let's just spray that in together. And this is where I'm going to have to put one of these ones in underneath. I'm going to mix it up a bit in here. So I'm just allowing some of this to run in together. Can you see how it's sort of starting to run in here? And I want to add some more of the yellow in on the bluey bits here. Let me just tap this down. I want it to come out quite green looking, so like that, and we'll add a little bit of blue in on here. See if I can get it to be a little bit greener. Let that run off that way. Run in on this way. That's run it off, and you can see it's sort of a bit greeny, not too green, but let's take some more yellow coming in, and then we'll take some more blue. Mix that in. You can see how it's starting to get a bit green and blue, and this is where you can start just moving it around. So I'm just moving it all. You can see how mixing it together it starts to get a bit greener, because I want this to be more green than blue. So I'm just mixing it around like this, and then I can take it off of here, bring that down, and you can see it's getting the colours disappearing a bit, but that's fine because I want it to just come around like this. Keep turning it round because I want my paper to be all the same colour. Now I'm going to light flat again, and I'm going to put some more yellow in. You can see how it just starts bringing those colours through, and then a little bit of the blue on its own, right on those corner pieces. And then when I spray it, it's going to just give a far more defined colour, and you can see how it's running through in the veins, and I can turn it up so it'll run through in different directions. And those little pieces running through on the side. Okay, I've got a little tiny bit of yellow here that hasn't, there we go. I'm just going to take that off. This one is quite wet. Put my pin back in. I put a little pin on them because it's easier to use. Okay, so I'm just going to take this one off, run that over, and I'm going to put it on this one because this is not quite so wet. Okay, so I'm going to keep that on, and it's got sort of a tealy colour on there, and it's less defined, but I don't mind that. I don't think I might just take, I'm going to be a bit daring and just take a little bit of this orange because I just want it to bleed just a little bit. Just tiny little taps. Okay, and I'm going to leave that and just allow that to just sort of run through. And I think that you can just sort of see it starting to work will be lovely. So I'm going to take these ones back again because I haven't quite finished with them. So that's all I'm doing with the Brusho. But then one of the nice things to do is if you've got, and I'm using my, let me just grab them out. I've got sparkle, but I've also got these ones which I'm doing because I don't want the sparkling on there. I just want the plain. So let's look at these colours, and I want to have some blue and some yellow on this one, and because it's still very damp, it means that I can put some of this on. I didn't even shake it first, did I? So these are my Poscas. Let's shake those up and spray it across so it's coming in on the corners and in on the front. And then just give it a little bit of a spray, because what happens is that these tiny little dots, I hope you can see, will start to bleed through because they're water-based. So that gives a really nice sort of colour coming through, and it diffuses it slightly. I think I might add some white in there as well, just in on that centrepiece. So I'm going to take the white out and do the same, because this is creating your background with lots of interest in on there. So you can see on here with the white, I'm just doing it in where the blue parts are. Like that. And again, just a little spray of water so it bleeds through a bit, because you want those pieces to be quite wide. Then I can move that one out of the way. So that's that one. And I hope you can see the difference having the little spots on there. So I need to move that one in underneath there and just let it dry. Okay, so this was the first one that we did. And again, let me have a look and see on colours. Now, I don't think I've got an orange, but I've got, which I think might be quite nice, because this is a fairly plain background. I'm going to use, I could use red, I could use green, or I could use, I'm going to go and use this bright fuchsia pink on here, because I think that that will make the plain background really quite vibrant. So let's have a look and see. Okay, that's the pink. Then I want to do some more of the white, because mixing both of those together, you see how that's sort of blending through in there quite nicely. Then if I take the spray on this, that's lovely. Can you see how those splats are coming into great big diffused ones? I'm going to get a few more of those on because I kind of like those. Which is rather nice, and let those dry. And I've got the pink on there. I might just use a little bit of, now I think that's fine on there, because you can see how it's starting to react a little bit. Can you see on here? Let me just bring it up a tad. Can you see on there how it's starting to react? And as it takes time to dry, those pieces will get a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to move that one out of the way, move this one in on here. And this was the last one we did, which is very saturated. But I'm going to put on here, I'm going to take some purple actually and see what happens with the purple. That's nice. And then I'm going to put some white, and then I'm just going to spray it after both of those, because the white will really look good, because you can see, yes, you can see how that's almost like a night sky. Coming up. Love that. Okay, spray that up. Now can you see how that's starting to come through beautifully? Might even get some more down the bottom of there, because I love that look. Can you see there where it's still damp and it's coming through beautifully? And I'm just going to add a little bit more of that purple in on there. What I might have to do is to just add a drop more water just in on, see if I can take that up there just a little bit, because I want it just down in that bottom corner a bit. Perfect. Okay, so that is now my background that just has to dry. And by doing these, when they've actually dried, you do get a really lovely look to it. So I'm just wiping this up a little bit, because you get bits everywhere. And then, as I say, I just put my kitchen towel out flat and then just leave them to dry. And it can take several hours, but I just sort of put them to one side, and then that's that. I try and keep them as flat as I can, because if they're not as flat as they can be, then you can get little bits. But that's now that. This is the one with the that's got the pink and things in, which again, I think once we've stamped over it, that'll look lovely. and this one has got your yellows in there as well, which again is quite nice. So that's the darkest one because I put more colour in, but that's gone sort of tealy green. So you've got 3 different backgrounds. If I bring them up closer, you can see how they're going to dry. So that's the yellow and blue one. That's the lovely pink, little bits of pink and the white in on there. And then the last one is this one, which actually, even though that's the most saturated, and you can see it's still saturated, I love the way that these pieces have come up. I think they look beautiful. So hope you enjoyed that. Hope you'll have a go at doing some backgrounds using Brusho or paints and splatters and things. And join me for the next video, because then we'll make some cards with what we've got. So thank you so much for watching me. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.